My name is John Melby, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about the game On the Underground. On the Underground is a train line game based on tube stops in both London and Berlin on the other side of the map. It's an easy to set up game, not hard to learn. It takes a lot of interesting strategy to kind of make your efficient points out here. The setup, basically, all we do is set out a couple of these green tokens on the London map on the existing green spots and deal out 4 cards. We've got 4 teams here with these 2 colors, these colors, these colors, and these colors. And then you deal 4 cards. Any yellow cards get a yellow tower, gray cards get the gray tower, and then you're ready to play. And at the moment, the purple team has already built one of their lines down here and moved to Canada Water. Now the next player has got to choose between these cards. On a turn, they've got to move their passenger first to a yellow stop and then to a white stop. If it's all white cards or all yellow cards, he just moves the passenger once. So what this guy is going to do here is he's going to make a little line here. And then we're going to move the passenger. And you will notice that he hit a blue stop. Blue stop gives him a point. There's a few other ways to get points here, but we'll do that if we have more time. So the rules for the passenger is the passenger's lazy. He wants to walk as little as humanly possible. So in this case, he can ride a train there, walk 2 stops, and then ride a train. So he goes to Stockwell. And the point scored there, he moved on the purple train and the red train, so each of those get a point. And then he's going to pick either Greater Portland Street or West Ham to go to. Red player is going to pick Greater Portland Street because he can go there just on his own line. So if we look here, we go up on red, he has to walk 3 stops. He can also go here, walk 2 stops to there and 2 stops there. That's 4 walking stops versus 3, so you've got to go the 3-stop route. So he moves up there, moves on the red line again, so red gets another point. If the amount of space that the passenger has to walk is the same in 2 different ways, he's got to pick the way that takes the least number of tube lines to travel. So that's the only little tricky thing, and in about 1 turn you figure out how the passenger is going to work. And from there you figure out, what am I going to do from here to make my rail lines make the passenger go on my line most of the time and work. Now for the next player's turn, we take out those 2 cards, which were Stockwell and Greater Portland Street. And we deal out 2 more cards. And now we've got 2 more gray stops here. So we've got Mornington Crescent, which is up here, and West Ham. In this new version, they put coordinates down here. So I see that Westminster is at C3. So it's right down there. So the next player is going to go, he's going to move around here. Easiest thing for here is probably build a rail to Bond Street and another rail down to Westminster, and he can get both of those for himself. And laying out your route, there are various parts of the board that it's nice to take control of if you can. For example, there's a lot of tube stops up in this direction. There's a limited number of ways of getting there. You can go a line out here. As you can see, green is built, orange has built a route out here. If you look down here, you can find an area like this. You can put 2 different rail links there, so somebody else can go there. But for example, if the green player has to pick one of the yellow stops to go to, if he picks here, he goes up there at his line and shares with the orange player, so both of them work together to get a point. And then hopefully later the orange player, since you work with him, will work with you to move back on your line a little bit. So there's a way of working together. It's not like you can form alliances, because this is not a real long-term strategy game. You can think about, I'm creating a route here to try to take most of these stations away from everyone else, but depending what order the station cards come up in, it may or may not work out for you. Plus, in most places out here, more than 1 person get into an area. Now once these green and oranges got there, the other 2 players are kind of locked out. And there's smaller areas up here which you can lock people out, but there's not as many stops. The whole northeastern area has a bunch of stops and some lucrative stops here, but it's not as many as here. So you got a trade-off in different areas of the board, and over time you start to learn what's the best area out there to go to. There's a lot of the yellow stops in the middle, so it's nice to go in the middle there. There's single stops there, so you can lock parts of the people out. On the other hand, if you get a nice long line going from one end to another, you're encouraging people to go on your line because that gets there on one line and is an efficient way of doing things. I like this particularly because of the theme. I like London, I like the underground ideas, and it hits that interesting spot that is not a trivial game. It's not under an hour. It is not a game that has tremendous amount of luck, and it's not a very difficult game to understand. We've all seen games where you take 30 minutes to explain the rules, and then it takes you 2 plays of the game to understand what you're doing. This thing, you pick it up right away. The real luck in the game is what order these cards come out, and that is equal for everybody, so it's a nice even game for everybody to play.